With the MLB trade deadline just a few weeks away, the New York Yankees could be eyeing outfielder Cody Bellinger of the Chicago Cubs. We know he's also a first baseman as well. He's a lefty, and there are reports that he could be potentially within the works of a blockbuster New York Yankees trade. All that and more on this episode of Yankees Digest. I am your host, Gabby Gordon, welcoming you into the video. But before we get into it, one quick favor to ask. If you love what you see, if you love the New York Yankees, and you want to keep following us as we cover all things Bronx Bombers, hit that subscribe button out of the park. Means the absolute world to us, and you could be one of our very first OG subscribers who we will absolutely never forget. But without further ado, let's get straight into this video because this could potentially be massive. It could potentially be massive and massive pretty soon. Trade deadline is July 30th. We are in July 2nd at the time I am filming this video, so there are huge implications that this could potentially be taking place. I'm going to show you our implication that we had from a writer from The Athletic. Quote, with the Cubs struggling to gain traction in the playoff race, teams like the New York Yankees and Texas Rangers have recently had a noticeable scouting presence around the club, a league source said. If the trend continues for the Cubs, Bellinger's name will likely become a much-discussed name again near the deadline, as it was last season. And then to continue, the Cubs were not designed to sell at the trade deadline. Their front office has been making moves around the edges of the roster, trying to incrementally improve a team that has 19 one-run losses, which is the most in the majors. But rivals have to be prepared just in case things get even worse and the Cubs may change their direction. This is all from The Athletic, and basically just in a nutshell, what this is saying is that the Cubs are obviously having an incredibly disappointing season thus far. They are just not having a good time, right? And the Cubs were not going to be sellers potentially at this trade deadline, obviously not expecting the disappointing season that they have been having. But the Yankees and teams like reportedly the Rangers over here have to be ready for their potential shift in their mentality. And if there is an opportunity for them to become sellers, Cody Bellinger could be in the time that he would leave this team. And really that time would probably be now. It could be seen as a rental. They could sign him through 2026 or whatnot. The Yankees have options here. They have options. Now, Jeff Passan also was talking about this back in October of 23. So this is something that has kind of been around the Yankees clubhouse for quite some time. And we've been seeing it, we've been hearing it, and obviously it didn't happen before the 2024 season kicked off. But it has been in the rumbling, in the buzz for quite some time and for almost a year now at this point. Back in October of 2023, Jeff Passan was speaking upon the potential for the Yoshinobu Yamamoto race, and then of course Juan Soto was in that mix. Now obviously Juan Soto is a Yankee, but Cody Bellinger was also in those conversations, and Jeff Passan said in October of 2023, quote, Cody Bellinger would fit great in their Yankees lineup. Now, why would Cody Bellinger fit great? Because he is a left-handed hitter and he has versatility. Let's take a look at some of these statistics. He would bring a bat to the Bronx, no doubt about it. He signed a 3-year, $80 million deal with the Cubs before the 2024 season began, and that deal includes opt-outs after the first 2 seasons. Bellinger won the National League MVP award in 2019 with the Dodgers, and after 3 down seasons, he had a resurgence playing on a 1-year deal with the Cubs in 2023. So he's been up and down, but he seems like his career is back on the up, and he really would bring a left-handed bat to the Bronx that could potentially really change this offensive scope, because aside from Judge and Soto, you really don't have consistency within your offense. And when Judge and Soto go through slumps, you have trouble. You need another bat for sure, and the Yankees have certainly been eyeing that. But even more so, he is currently slashing .267, .327, .416 this season. He's got 9 homers and 34 ribbies through July 1st. Now I'm filming on July 2nd, but that stat still remains. Bellinger is certainly going to not be taking the place of Judge or Soto. There's absolutely no question about that, and we know that, and rightfully so. But he could potentially be an upgrade over Alex Verdugo in the outfield. And even better so, he also plays first base, and he can provide versatility that could make him very simple to plug into the lineup based on this information. Now, of course, Alex Verdugo has been struggling as of late, and I've sort of been hearing buzz now that if Gleyber continuously starts to heat up, he's had a couple of games, about his last 2 games, that were pretty decent. If he can continue to heat up, a lot of the focus is going to be on Alex Verdugo and his struggles offensively. Now, he is a great outfielder. There's no disputing that. He's a great player. He's a gritty player, and I like him in pinstripes. I really do. He brings an energy to the Yankees that we didn't see for quite some time, and I think he gets along with the squad really well. He kind of just fits in there. But his offense has been shaky. It has been a little bit concerning, to say the least, in the last month of play. And so the eyes are going to be on Alex Verdugo if he's really the guy at this point that is the new Gleyber Torres, right? All eyes were on Gleyber. He was sat for 2 games. He comes back in. He seems like he's having a resurgence on the offensive side of things and defensive side of things as well. Verdugo's going to be the focus. It's now interesting for me to see what the Yankees are going to do with this information that they have potentially surrounding the Cubs. What's also interesting for me is that the scouts are really taking a focus on the Cubs, which could mean that things are in the works behind the scenes that we haven't quite seen yet, so that's pretty interesting as well. Also to note, look, I don't want to say this deal is happening because that would be false information. That's not what we're about here at Yankees Digest. It's going to be an interesting thing that the Yankees, Brian Cashman, they're going to have to work out, right? His contract currently makes him a tricky trade target. He's got opt-outs, which could mean he's either going to be a rental or he's going to be a pretty big financial commitment through 2026, like I mentioned in the beginning. So the Yankees have a decision to make here, and will continue as we get closer to this trade deadline, because you also have Juan Soto's contract. And to me, I certainly wouldn't be able to commit to not affording Soto and taking Bellinger in instead. Juan Soto's been a monster. He's been a hard-working player. I mean, the guy's playing through hand contusions and things of that sort, and he's just a tough and gritty type of guy. And so, for me, I would be extremely angry with this organization if they let Soto walk because they couldn't afford him, because they were more so targeting Bellinger. And I'm sure most Yankees fans can agree with that statement. However, there are ways that can be worked around this, right? And since the Yankees are still very much on a World Series type of race this season, and will continue to be even after the All-Star break and the trade deadline comes, he could be seen as a rental for this team, right? And at this point, baseball is a business in the sense of things, and sometimes you need a rental, and Cody Bellinger could potentially be that piece for the New York Yankees, kind of pad up that offense a little bit before you hit the prime time for the World Series race. They're already in it, but you really need to start stepping things up at this point in the season. July is a make-or-break type of month for the New York Yankees and for most teams who are trying to make a true World Series run here. So this is going to be really, really interesting. Let's just really quickly take a look at the rest of Cody Bellinger's statistics here. Whoop, not that one. That one. Sorry about that. Look, he's 6'4", he's 28 years old. He's got 9 homers, 34 RBIs. His on-base percentage is .327. The guy is on base. He gets on base, right? 281 at-bats. He's got 75 hits. And he is versatile, right? He can play the outfield. He can play first base. He's got 4 stolen bases as well. So this is really, really interesting going forward to see what the Yankees are going to do with this. And really what's truly been sparking interest here now is that there are reports that Yankees scouts are eyeing the Chicago Cubs. And that's probably no other than them eyeing Cody Bellinger. So there's interest, and where there's interest, sometimes there can be discussion, and where there's discussion can be a trade. So this is really going to be very interesting to follow in the coming weeks before that trade deadline hits. And hey, I would absolutely love to see Brian Cashman pulled the trigger on a huge trade here, bring Cody Bellinger in pinstripes, and we'll see what we can get with him, even if it is as a rental. So we're going to be following this storyline, all of it, and every little every nitty-gritty piece of the Cody Bellinger potentially to the Bronx storyline, and we're going to keep you updated with everything as we get more information, and we will continue to get a ton of information within the next few weeks. So that's going to wrap up this video. You've been watching Yankees Digest. I've been your host, Gabby Gordon. If you like the video, if you want Cody Bellinger in the Bronx, comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this potential trade that could potentially be in the works behind the scenes. We don't know what Brian Cashman's been up to as of late, but hey, it could potentially become a reality. So smash that like button. It means the world to us here at Yankees Digest, and I will catch you in the next one.